Excuse me, Salt Lily player? Yeah, what's up? Are you missing a card in your level zone? No, this is good. You should be level 3 right now, right? Oh, no, I'm level 2. Wait, what? Yeah, I'm level 2. Wait, you're telling me you have 4 level 3s on your board and you're 2-0? Hey guys, Chairman here. I'm back again with another deck profile, this time on Assault Lily, featuring the Volume 2 cards. Yeah, Assault Lily is one of the sets that I got into pretty late, actually. I think a friend of mine was selling playset for really cheap. I got playset set 1, and honestly, love the cards. I think Assault Lily has some of the coolest cards in all of Weiss. And Volume 2 did not disappoint. Picked up a playset from Nova and got to brewing right away, and I think there is just some really interesting deck choices you can go for in Volume 2. You're not at all like constrained with like the new archetypes or the new characters. You can really mix and match in really creative ways. And so the deck that I have today is actually a deck I have not seen yet. I've been looking at the JP locals reports, all those things. I've never seen this deck list, and it is performing exceptionally well. It's really fun to play. Has some lots of really powerful and interesting combos at level 0 and at level 2. So I'm really excited to share this one. Hope you guys give it a try yourselves, and kind of hope that this deck becomes something of a new meta deck, because I really think it has what it takes. Starting off with the level 0 line, we have 4 copies of the level 0 Kazuha. This card is a really interesting card. So at the start of your opponent's climax phase, you can choose one of your characters, which includes her, and you can give it the effect at the start of your opponent's attack phase. You can mill the top part of your deck, and if it's a Lily character, you can run to any place in the front row. So basically, it gives a character the mill run effect. It loses 500 power for not having the mill run effect herself. Now, at first I thought this card was pretty weak, but later I realized this card's actually insane, because basically you can turn any of your level 0s into a mill runner, and there's actually some like really powerful cards at level 0 you can turn into a mill runner, and with the mill run effect it just becomes like insanely crazy. Like you can give the clean cut the mill run effect, so you just build your own K mill runner. That's really hilarious. Also, at level 1 and 2, what you can do is you can crash a lane in, and then you can give your mill run effect to one of your 1-0s or your early plays, and then that actually gives it a layer of protection on top of it, so that if your opponent's trying to use like some kind of anti-change bomb or something on your early plays, you can run it away. And the next thing is you can stack this, so you can have multiple copies of this card on the board, give all of the mill run effects onto one card, and then even if you miss, like you mill a climax or something, you can try again and then run again. So this card's actually insanely useful. It's also really good for milling, because again, you can stack it, and it's actually really good. One of the cards that we really want to give the mill run effect to at level 0 is, yep, that's right, it's level 0 Shenlin from the set 1. Now this card is if you guys don't know, it's a really strong card. It's a clock bomb, and also it's when it gets sent to waiting room, you can pay 1, clock yourself, and then reveal the next 2 cards. If they're lilies, you can add them to your hand, so potentially a +2. And yeah, just like a running clock bomb that also pluses you is just kind of ridiculous. So this combo, these 2 cards together going first, it just creates this really annoying board for your opponent. And yeah, this is what like good cards basically make this card insane, and this deck is just full of good cards. So speaking of another good card that we really want to see at level 0, we are running 3 copies of the level 0 Kanaho. So this one's kind of a unique card. It's a common, and I don't think people are running it, but I think in conjunction with the Kazuha is actually really strong. So this is what's known as the camera Coco effect. If you have 2 or less stock, she gets +1 level and +1 K power. So just a 3/5 level 1. But of course, if you make it a runner, then you can have her run in front of your opponent's characters and deny them the side attack and the front attack, and so they have to minus themselves when attacking to your board, which is really powerful. This used to be the clean cut, but I realized the clean cut condition was a little hard to fulfill in this deck, just because we're not running that many cards at level 0. So I switched over to the Kanaho. The Kanaho also is yellow. We do need a lot of yellow in this deck, or we're running very little yellow, and every little yellow that we can add into the deck helps. So it's just a good beater at level 0. Works really well with our mill runner. So yeah, that's basically why we're on this. You can try something else in this slot. I was testing this slot flexibly a lot, but I felt like Kanaho is actually the best ultimately. Running 2 copies of the Kanaho Riki, just a fantastic utility card. Gets you a level 1 or lower, and also allows you to filter one of your lilies out for an extra draw. Really good. You can actually up this count and decrease the count of the Shenlin depending on your playstyle and what you want. Obviously the Shenlin is really good at getting advantage, but you don't really get a lot of selection, and in this deck you kind of need the selection because most of your cards are level 3s. So the Shenlin usually just adds like a bunch of level 3s to your hand at level 0, which is not very good. So potentially you can drop this to 3, bump this up to 3 if you want to see more consistency that way. But the Shenlin is also a really good turn 1 play alongside the Mill Runner, which is why I have it at 4. But yeah, I mean, it's flexible. You get to try it out. But I think some combination, I think up to like 6 of the Riki effects or the clocking effects is really helpful in this deck, just because, again, you have a lot of level 3s, so you need to get more cards into your hand to get more playables. We're running 2 copies of the 0-0 Lily from the second set. This one's a very interesting and very powerful card, actually. So at the start of your opponent's attack phase, you can pay 1, run it to back row. So she's kind of like a free attacker. And then the second one is you can sack her, ditch a card from your hand, and salvage anything you want. So remember, we said that this deck has a lot of level 3s, which means early game you're going to have a lot of dead cards in your hand. And this Lily just allows you to trade one of the dead cards for literally anything in your waiting room, which is really good. And the fact that she sacks herself is not really a big problem because she is a free attacker. So if you attack with her and then you pay 1, you run to back row, so she refunds. So you use the stock that you spent on attacking with her to save her, and then the next turn you can use her effect to trade a card with another card. Usually you're using her to get extra copies of a climax combo on the climax combo turn, which means that even if the minus is basically replaced by the plus that you're going to get from the climax combo. And yeah, I think she's just really good utility to have in this deck. Just being able to ditch climaxes is just a filter for anything. You can run other utility cards. I found that the Riri was really nice. Also, it's a Riri name for 3-2 UU, just in case that ever comes up. And last but not least, we're running 1 copy of the Climax Swap. Just a really good card to have, especially in this deck since we're running pants. So yeah. Level 1s, we are running 4 copies of the, what's her name? Her name is Akari. Akari level 1 choice Climax combo. So this is the part that I don't see anybody running. I don't see people running Akari choice for the pants build. I see people running door, book, like everything under the sun except for choice. And I think choice is just a really natural fit in this deck because you're running so many level 3s, and so your choice triggers are basically always live. They're either getting you stock or they're getting you an early play into your hand, which is absolutely phenomenal. And her combo, which is top check 4 at a level 1 or higher, never misses because you're running so many level 3s in this deck, and they're all good cards that you want to see starting level 2, so they're not actually dead, right? So like a big problem with this card in other decks is that like the Ayame level 1 climax combo effect is that you're adding level 3s to your hand that you don't get to play until level 3. But in this deck, you add level 3s that you're going to play like the next turn, which is kind of ridiculous. The fact that it also mills a ton is really helpful in this deck because we don't have a lot of mill at level 0, so we need to definitely mill a lot at level 1. And it's also pretty big. Well, with the back row and with the mill run effect, you can actually, she can potentially stay on the board for more than 1 turn, which is really nice. We are also running 2 copies of the double combo level 1 combo. I tested this at 4. I don't like it. No selectivity, no mill. But at 2 copies it's actually not bad because it is a level 2 killer. So if you have experience 2 or more, she gains 2k, and then when she attacks level 2, she gains another 6k. So just by herself, she's 12k against level 2s. Really good against other standby decks. And then the climax combo is with the same pants as the level 3, and it's just on attack reveal the next card of your deck. If it's a Lily, then you just add to your hand. So no selectivity, but just occasional +1. So we run 2 copies of this, 4 copies of this, and then we kind of just play whatever climax combo we want. This is where the Lily is also very helpful because let's say we're trying to sculpt for this, and then we drew like maybe one of these, and then we have the pants, and we can't get the choice. It's okay, we just sack the Lily, sack one of the ones that we sculpted, try to get the other one, and then we can just still climax combo off, still try to get our plus. So yeah, it's like a lot of flexibility at the level 1 line. You could replace this with utility. I did try playing utility in this slot, but honestly, the first effect is pretty good utility against standby, and then the I just felt like there's not really good level 1 utility in Assault Lily anyways. That is worth running in these colors. The fact that we're yellow-blue is kind of awkward because yellow doesn't really have that many good cards outside of the climax combos. And alongside the 1-0 combo, we are also running the 1-0 Brainstorm. Honestly, the 1-0 Brainstorm is really good in this deck because we don't really want it at level 0 because we want it to be level 1 or higher, so we can add it off the combo. Also has a soul trigger, which means if we trigger choice, we can also add it back to our hand, which is very sick. And the climax combo gives 2 characters twin drive, which is really good because we don't want our climaxes buried in our stock. So if we trigger them, we can always pay them out and also dig further into the deck. So yeah, just like a really good level 1 combo package. And also the level 1 also matters because we need to hit experience 4 at level 2 and experience 6 at level 3. So what you can do is you can level a 3 and a 1 to hit 4 at level 2, and then you can level another 3 to be at 7, which is bigger than 6. At level 2, we run 1 copy of refresh counter. I almost never played this, but it's not a bad card to have just because we're running choice, and we usually have the stock to play it. The reason I don't usually go for this is because the finishing combo in this deck is actually just too insane to not go for, but it's also very modular, which means you can build it up to however much you want to be. And in some cases where I need to refresh counter to save my butt, you can just refresh counter and then do a slightly less powerful finishing combo, and it's still pretty good. So I think it's always good to have this as a one-up, even if you don't really want to use it most games. Alright, let's go into the level 3s. There are a lot, and instead of talking about it in the normal order that I talk about, which is like card count and kind of what they do, I'm going to talk about in the order that you play these cards at level 2. So once you hit level 2, you need to have one of the cards in level zone to get experience requirement, and then you early play this back row. So this 3-2 back row gets -1 level when you have this in level zone, so you need a level 1 of these. And then she's front 2k to all your lilies, and once per turn, whenever you play either this Kazuha or this, I believe her name is Ron. Yeah, this Kazuha or this Ron, you can blind stock one, and that's up to once per turn for each of those characters. So basically, if you play both of them in a single turn, she refunds 2 stock. And this happens every single turn. So it's kind of ridiculous how cheap the entire package is, especially over the course of many turns. You just get like all your resources back. In like a prolonged game, starting from level 2, you have like a huge advantage over every other deck that's looking to play early plays. And so once you have this on the board, then you fulfill the early play requirement for this. I believe her name is Renka? Yeah, for this Renka. So this Renka gets -1 level if you have this Yo on the board. She is +15 if you have experience 3 or more, which is always going to happen because you need the Ron in level to even play the Yo. And then on play, she can pay 1 and summon from the waiting room this Kazuha. And this Kazuha is your level 3 finishing combo. So when this Kazuha enters the field, either from hand or from the summon effect, you can heal 1. So these 3 cards get you 1 heal, and then this will refund the stock with the Yo. The climax combo requires experience 6, so usually you don't have this online at level 2 if you level a 1-0 yellow for a color. But generally speaking, you don't really want to do it until level 3. I'll talk about the climax combo effect when I get to the last card. But the climax combo is the finishing effect. It's a burn 3 effect. It's pretty good. And then lastly, once you have this on the board, you usually have a brainstorm at the end, and you meet the early play requirement for the Ron, which is 4 more other Lily. She gets -1 level, and then experience 4 more, so she's the experience 4, plus 1500, and cross turn on reverse pay 2 burn 1, which is really good. Allows you to pay out climaxes and just kind of push damage, and she's also a healer. So your play is you play this, summon this, heal 1, blind stock 1, play this, heal another 1, blind stock another 1. So for 5, I believe it's, yeah, for 6 stock, you can heal twice, and you will be left with 1 stock, and you'll get all these characters on the board, which is frankly ridiculous. That's actually so much power, and just your board looks so insane at level 2. Yeah. So this package is really fun to play, and they're all really big. So these 3 characters are all 10k based on their like own power effects, and then the ones in front of this will be 12k. It's hard to push above 12k power in this deck because I'm not running any other kind of power pump, but I mean 12k is pretty good, and you don't really care if they live or die, because the next turn you're trying to spawn as many of them again so you can refund stock and just get more heals. All right, I'm going to talk about the finishing combo with the Yu Restander, because the Kazuha finishing combo is on climax placement, and you could choose one of your Lily characters to give it on attack, pay 1, ditch 1, and burn equal to its own level. Now, she can target anything, which means that you can stack all your burns on the UU, and then the UU can restand, and then it's not once per turn. So on the restand, you can attack, and then you can pay the cost again to burn again. Now, the downside with the UU is if you don't have the Ryu on the board, she does hit you. But that's honestly fine, because when you're going for a game, you're just going to be dead, right? And so the combination between 2 Kazuha and 1 UU is 8 instances of 3. So you get 3, 3, 3, and then the 3 on the restand. And then every time she attacks, you can pay 2, ditch 2 to burn 3 twice. So it's 8 instances of 3. Absolutely ridiculous. And it's like very cheap as well. Like I think the finishing combo is like, it's actually not that stock intensive. It's like 8 stock or something like that. It's basically as difficult as the old UU Riri combo in terms of like resources, in terms of stock resources. And then hand resources is more expensive, but then the result is just, it's way more explosive, and it doesn't care about your opponent's deck state, right? Like sometimes I do the Riri combo and I just like mill clean, and then my opponent just cancels and I just lose the game. This one is just like, just take 3 8 times, you know? It's actually ridiculous how strong it is. You can kill from like early level 2, I think, actually. It's so good. And then finally, of course, our combat spread is 4 choice and 4 pants. Yep. Yeah, and I think this deck, oh man, there's just so much fun to play. There's a little bit of consistency issues, which is kind of the weakness. A lot of these cards, they don't help you get other cards, which is why we're trying to patch it up with these cards at level 0. But it's still hard to get the level 0s to hand because, again, you have to like hit brainstorms or do other things. So you could consider like slimming down some of the packages and adding more utility. But I feel like at this stage it's pretty good. This is like my like 3rd or 4th iteration of this deck, and it's feeling pretty good. It's like coming together. It's really powerful at level 0, really powerful at level 2, and then if you get the level 1 combo, you just like breeze through your deck really quickly. And yeah, I think I just have a lot of fun playing this deck. There's a lot of really neat tricks you can do, right? So like the restander with the combo, but you can also give the combo effect to a level 1 to have it burned 1. You know, in the case that you don't actually want to burn 3, you can have the mill run effect. You can give it to the Ron and then have the Ron run around and then pay 2 reverse to like, yeah, make it so your opponent has to like crash into her. I don't know. There's just like a lot of really fun plays with this deck. I hope you guys, you know, give this a shot if you have Assault Lily too. This set honestly has so many fun builds. I definitely have some other decks that I'm testing right now. They're not quite ready yet, but I'll definitely share them when I get comfortable with where they're at. And yeah, hopefully this was fun. I would love to see more of this build be represented. I think this build has a lot of potential. Probably, honestly, the best deck I think Assault Lily can offer after set 2. So be on the lookout for this. I think this deck is definitely going to make some waves.